Welcome to our EDU324 International Dimensions. During the course of this presentation, we are looking at the concept that is globalisation and the effects it has towards the education system in South Korea. More specifically, we are looking at whether it has benefited or hindered the cultural understanding within its population. In order to compose a legitimate response to such question, what firstly needs to be established is the historical, economic and political context of South Korea.
South Korea prior to World War II was under the rule of the Japanese. However, Chung and Das 2008 stated that after the Second World War, the country split into two parts. The Japanese left Korea in 1945 with a broken education system. All schools were taught by ethnic Japanese, there was a shortage of teachers, and the illiterate rate was 78%. Following on from World War II, the Korean War took place between 1950 and 1953. A unified Korea was the current demographic before the United States' involvement in the South Korean peninsula. The North Koreans invaded the South, which started the Korean War. The South Koreans managed to get them back to what had become the 38th parallel line. 1 million died.
Since the Korean War, the South Korean economy has seen an unprecedented rise. South Korean economic growth in the last 50 years has been soaring over 10% yearly in comparison to the UK, which last year only grew 0.4%. They have also managed to host major world events due to their economic success. These events include the 2002 FIFA World Cup, Formula One Grand Prix, and most recently the 2018 Winter Olympic Games. However, has their superior economic status come through corruption and bending the rules? Lara, can you please explain the chaebol and its status within South Korean society?
Certainly, Jake. Chaebol is a collection of big businesses such as Hyundai and Samsung, who were bankrolled by the government to be successful. Park Chung-lee arranged the chaebol setup in the 1960s to produce economic growth consistently for a generation. This has been proved to be successful through annual growth rates and South Koreans' economic status. Furthermore, it is currently the 12th strongest and cemented a place in the G20.
But Lara, the chaebol status could be changing due to political unrest. The BBC found Samsung to be interfering in political dealings. This led to President Park Geun-hye being impeached, as it found Samsung was providing bribes to Park Geun-hye's sister. This was part of a big corruption trial.
I understand, and these points can be deemed as valid, Jake, but one could look up towards the hegemony theory to emphasise the development these countries have provided on a local and national level. Hill 2007 in Shields 2013 states the hegemony theory to be the dominance of one powerful group over the less powerful. This could at first glance be seen as a negative due to the inequality in society. However, Chang 2016 found that the top 5 chaebols in South Korea contributed 58% of the country's GDP, increasing from 45% in 2009. This economic input could suggest that more state funding is to be provided in areas such as education.
These are interesting statistics, Lara. However, before looking at their education system, what needs to be established is the social issues currently detaching the South Korean people from the economic success. Although the South Korean education budget is strong, a major issue within the education system is the ending destination for young people. Steger found in late 2016 that youth unemployment was 12.5% compared to 3.6% as a national average. Half the jobs in the South Korean economy being found within the chaebol group. Young people are finding it difficult to find these jobs. Himenef found in 2014 that 200,000 young people went for job trials at Samsung with only 14,000 jobs available. This is showing the competition for jobs is fierce and is causing high youth unemployment due to people feeling the need to be educated to a chaebol workforce. Furthermore, to high youth unemployment rates, South Korea regrettably boasts a high youth suicide rate. The human rights advocates state that South Korean success has had repercussions as high rates of depression and mental fatigue have flourished. To support this statement, the South Korean Health and Welfare Ministry estimate that 90% of people who committed suicide in 2016 had a diagnosable psychiatric illness, such as depression, anxiety, and these conditions are often caused by stress.
Collins 2008 argues that education is a basic need for all. Education success equals socio-economic status. South Korea's specific educational system is explored along with the benefits and weaknesses of such a competitive system. Academic development is a focus point for countries, and it can be suggested that educational attainment levels are high, dependent on the cultural tradition that is incorporated. Korea's educational system has developed and expanded significantly since the 1950s, predominantly due to cultural heritage. Education within Korea was traditionally valued as a way of self-cultivation, enabling the achievement of status and power. South Korea in particular is a multicultural ethnic nation.
Yes, but education consists of formal, non-formal and informal learning. It can be suggested that location plays a key role in the external education due to facilities, culture, history and the opportunities provided. South Korea's relentless focus on education has resulted in formidable exam performers. It is reported that the majority of South Korean teenagers study from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. each day. It can be suggested that due to the pressure on students to perform to exceptional academic levels, their personal, social and mental well-being may be affected.
In 1959, an educational law was passed resulting in primary education being compulsory and all children being given 12 years' worth of education.
However, from here, research shows that females then went on to having paid jobs, whilst the male population continued in education. As a result, South Korea could be suggested to be a male-dominated culture. South Korea does strive to ensure they produce well-educated citizens, particularly in universal literacy, as they are deemed education is the best route to success.
With South Korea placed 11th in science, 21st for reading, and 7th for maths, it leaves them ranked 11th overall. Having been successful in comparison to historical countries such as the United Kingdom, South Korea has established itself as an educational hub to the world. With limited self-job opportunities and the global pressures, this can be suggested educational dominance has come at a human cost.
It was previously mentioned that South Korea spends 21% on the government's budget on education. The NCEE discussed how South Korean policies close education achievement gaps and focus on helping low-performing students rather than schools. The BBC reported last year that South Korea is one of the highest performing OECD countries, but spends well below the average per student expenditure. For example, students from low-income families will have access now to vouchers for extracurricular activities.
Moon 2013 defined globalisation as both economic and social culture. Economic globalisation refers to the flow of economic migrant labour and mobile global capital, while cultural globalisation refers to the institutionalisation of worldwide culture norms and the act of prospective models or blueprints from what modern national states should look like. Shields 2013 describes three dominant theories of globalisation. These include globalisation as competition, conflict, and culture. So, Jake, what can you tell us about the first?
Globalisation as competition in general varies, but it mainly involves the academic or financial position of a country and its competition with other countries to achieve top rankings. Although being considered a top ranking country, there are some negatives that can significantly affect its employees. For example, multinational corporations are able to relocate jobs to virtually any country in which they can be performed at a lower cost. As a result, these individuals and workers face constant uncertainty about unemployment. Also, competition within South Korea to perform academically puts pressures on students to achieve highly, as it is deemed that they are serving the state was a goal for the elite. Guil in 2003 discussed how students are pushed hard in schools with the expectation that they also receive after-school tutoring and study weekends and holidays to achieve so high scores in testing. Economic competitiveness resulting in the effects of globalisation and status may affect the way education is taught and monitored within South Korea, as pressure is on the educators and the government to maintain a successful education system.
Globalisation as conflict examine ways in which the changes caused by globalisation benefit those most powerful. Hesh 2015 states that language barriers have effect on when children start school. It can therefore be suggested that students with limited Korean language skills have an impact on the Korea's educational status due to the number of students not attending an educational provision. It can be suggested that conflict can arise between the government and educational setting due to the pressure to achieve high academic success. This has both positive and negative effects on all involved. The positive is that it provides a standard of working and teaching to maintain education excellent, but faces the harsh reality as suicide rates increase and external pressures may become too much for some.
Culture is a way of identifying a country through language, social customs, traditions such as art, music and religion. The country of South Korea is a democracy, resulting in a free pass and healthy economy. However, Lee does express sorrow and pity for South Koreans, as some might want to beg to move to the north.
South Korea is dominated by technology due to the expansion and development of the economy. The culture of South Korea is to raise expectations of academic achievements of students in order to compete worldwide. South Korea's rigorous education system has delivered academic results above average.
So our suggestions going forward. There are many suggestions in relation to education and globalisation in South Korea. Our suggestions can refer back to the three main areas of globalisation for culture, conflict and for competition.
Our first suggestion is in conjunction to globalisation for culture. South Korea, as previously stated, looks towards individuals and their development. South Korea's mission culturally has been to deliver educational results beyond what is expected. This links into culturally how much they have developed and gone beyond people's expectations financially in order to be successful. However, a suggestion for the South Korean government is to increase the provision of vocational education to allow a freedom of opportunity, which can allow for cultural understanding. However, it can be argued in the South Korea that vocational education is not perceived to be one of a curriculum, but rather of improving communications between school and employees, ensuring clear pathways for vocational students. By allowing such opportunities, this can allow students to understand and research the history of their culture through different contexts and learning styles.
The second suggestion is in relation to globalisation and conflict. This suggestion relates back to culture. With many Koreans conscious of the population's diversity spectrum, an internal conflict within education could be suggested. Many blame foreign students for the decline academically. However, our suggestion is to allow the students to be part of the educational provision in order to allow inclusion and multiculturalism. This could allow South Koreans to be more equipped to globalisation and appreciating and adopting other countries' values and ideas.
Our final suggestion is in relation to South Korean and the competition both nationally and internationally. With the chaebol continuing to dominate the South Korean economy, this competition for jobs is extremely competitive. However, with public attitudes towards the chaebol companies turning negative, this could be seen as an ideal opportunity for change by allowing more opportunity for self-employed or different avenues after education. This could develop international competition within the country, which could benefit the whole economy. Furthermore, this video has shown the PISA rising of South Korea, along with the determination to strive to become the best educational system within the world without human cost.